Welcome back to the Far Side. I'm your host. My name is... That's right, class, Austin. How you doing today? This being recorded on a day in which nothing crazy has happened politically in the world or America. No, not at all. Nothing going on. We're just free-forming this one, and I am probably going to end up ranting at some point because I didn't really prepare stuff for this week, and that is mostly because I have been kind of sick and busy with, actual work that I'm getting paid to do. And in case you haven't noticed, it is very difficult to get sponsors when you don't really have views. And I also got the sniffles. I got the cold or strep or whatever the hell is going around. So, will I disinfect this microphone? No. I'm going to treat this thing like a sumo wrestler's thong. Never washing it, because if you wash it, you remove the juju of success. And another unsponsored energy drink shout out, Georgie. Although this tastes exactly like a strawberry Jolly Rancher to such a degree that, one, it brings me right back to those, little Jolly Rancher handouts you'd get in class, where it's like, this is too good. This is definitely too good. But it's nice. It's a nice little break from things. Because otherwise, all we have to look forward to is... me at least, all I have to look forward to is making jokes to checkout clerks about how we're all going to die in Iran. Don't worry, boys and girls. We're headed to Iran. And the funny thing is that gets laughs. Going up to people and being like, how's the day going? That's kind of shit, whatever. I'm like, hey, man, could get worse. We could all be drafted into Iran soon. And they're looking at me like, you're a little too old. And I'm like, they up to the age, y'all, because your cohort is so disastrously fucked for military service. It is almost like that the program that was run on whatever MK Ultra, MK Monarch thing that was run on the current generation of military draft age males was a program that was more designed to create... willing consumers of all the things, people who are very compliant, or if they're not compliant, they're at least so exhausted by other things, or they are overwhelmed by life. They are struggling with mental illness, because we have kind of had an uptick of that. How much of that's like some sort of labeling theory, or the incentivization socially of mental disorders as a badge of uniqueness in an ever homogenous world? And I've got some acronyms that I can throw to the wall in terms of my name and mental health. Woo. That's why I always laugh when all these serial killer reporters, or any of these true crime people, or recently it's been all the conspiracy theorists. First off, conspiracy theorists, I don't believe y'all for a freaking second that none of y'all have ever not had dark thoughts. It seems like every conspiracy theorist no longer arrives at a conspiracy theory place because they have been completely ostracized by society, and thus are left with this as their avenue for enjoyment. No. Now every conspiracy theorist has no mental health issues, is of perfectly sound mind and body, and they'd never harm themselves or any other people in any way. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's the difference between, philosophers and philosophy enjoyers. Many philosophy enjoyers have their lives, incredibly well put together. Partly because they never had to come up with a philosophy to make sense of the world around them. And it's the same thing with many of these conspiracy people trying to claim that they ain't mentally ill. That's because you have never experienced something in life that was so just sideways that it made you look at conspiracies and go, yeah, you know what? That's actually not that out of the realm of possibility. And I think that's an interesting place where we're at in America today, is you go on social media, you go online, and what do we see? a bunch of people all having like a government cover-up political corruption version of what happened 5 years ago when the pandemic started and people started looking at body cam footage and all these other things and going, wait, hey, some of this is pretty fucking wild. There's a lot of police brutality happening or systemic racism and all these things. And yeah, is that happening? Sure. But now apparently, because of all the body cams that have been added to police forces and the review of body cam footage, that a lot of people are going, oh, wait, the cops weren't doing a bunch of crazy shit on the body cams. In fact, we found that many of the people who end up becoming like felons were actively lying to the people that they were around and, you know, oh, the cops corrupt, they're doing all this stuff. I've talked to some felons. I have heard of people getting, say, put in corners of the prison or areas of the transport to prison where there are no cameras, where body cameras just sort of stop working or get turned off or for some reason don't need to be on or live in there. A lot of police precincts or jails, it's not uncommon that there's like a corner or a room or maybe an elevator that just doesn't have good camera coverage. And in those places, yep, that's where they beat the fuck out of prisoners. I'm just a messenger. Don't shoot me, allegedly. Is it all of them? No, I don't think so, because if it was all of them, it would be a much bigger problem. Is it zero? No, it's not zero. I've heard it from multiple dudes. I have not heard that from women, actually. I will say that. I have heard it from multiple dudes. Usually, if women are getting improperly handled in the intake process, it's of a sexual violent nature, unfortunately. Now, when you have a bunch of side like philosophy, you're struggling with the idea of living or the way that society is working, and so you spend tons of hours contemplating, thinking, cogitating, metacognating on all this stuff that doesn't make sense to you. So then you come up with an alternative thesis for life and living and where we're headed. Look at Nietzsche and that philosophy coming out of the Enlightenment. Or like modern day, where now everyone's a fucking stoic. And I'm like, why? Like, I get it, yeah, be in control of your emotions, but also I feel like stoicism is a really great way to control people in the information age. Shut up, don't talk about your feelings, bury them so deep down that you never see it. And it's like there's a big difference, too, in philosophy between a superficial understanding of a philosophy that is usually incorrect at best because of its simplicity, or you have... Sorry, cold, strep. I don't know what it is. I am ailing. We are feverish. If this gets any amount of views, great. If no one makes it this far into the video, fantastic. I'm fucking proud of you. So so now we have yes. The superficial understandings of philosophy are similar to the superficial understanding of philosophies or conspiracy theories, in that many a times, especially these days, all the conspiracies is, the Jews are doing it. Oh, it's the Jews. Guys, I mean, are the Jews up to stuff? Sure. Is it all of them? No. Again, if you are going online and something is pointing you constantly in the direction of, it's all the Jews, they're doing it, you are being dog-walked into something that other people want you to believe. Like these aristocratic banking families and early industry families that are actually the ones that are driving the fucking blob, whatever it is, and Israel is in the passenger seat of the blob. They are like a child with their little tyke steering wheel thing, beep, 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 pretending to drive the car. But because they have the aux cord, they are playing whatever they want on the stereo system. The speakers are just blaring little tyke beep beep talking points and propaganda. One, many conspiracies are fan fiction. That is one of the hardest things to understand when you become a conspiracy realist, out of becoming a conspiracy theorist. In the same way that the difference between a philosopher and someone who enjoys philosophy is usually you have to get away from the fanfic. What's up, Karma Girl? You don't seem like you want to be here. I don't want to be here either, sweetie. Relax, my sweet girl. Yeah, relax. Yes, chill. Hi. What's wrong? Go take a nap. Go. Karma. I don't know what you want from me right now, girl. Do you have to go to the bathroom? Do you have to go potty? We've been at... I mean, at this point, I just gotta go home. Like, I can't take you guys out for a fucking fourth time. Good girl. Thank you. Okay, problem solved. We're coming back. My dog is worried for me. Say hi, Karma. Karma says hi. Because there is so much fan fiction. There is so much bullshit. There is so many very creative, very crazy, maybe very dumb, very creative people. Maybe they're not even that crazy. Maybe they're just dumb. Coming up with all kinds of spins or things that you can do to make this a more extreme version of what it might be or what it's definitely not. And when you go into the realism side of the conspiracy world, one of the things that is most important for you to start doing is actually reading the news, as lame and as boring as it is. Because when you start reading the news, you start seeing things like the DOJ investigates Eric Swalwell over sexual misconduct allegations. It's almost like all of our politicians, or a large amount of them, were blackmailed by a, I don't know, or, you know, maybe not blackmailed, but were already doing shit that made it easy to blackmail them, or there were situations that they were in that created a way to blackmail them. Chicken or the egg. If you have a politician that you wish to elevate to an office, and you don't what am I fucking saying? My brain is scrambled eggs right now. If you have a politician that you want to elect to office, what are 2 ways to control the way that they vote? What are 3 ways to control the way that they vote? 1, be their primary donor. So you look at AIPAC, you look at SIFU, and how they vote there. That's a great way to look at it. Then 2, you get dirt on them. And that's been happening forever, getting dirt on politicians. And it's something that got significantly worse in the modern age because of technology. Yay! Once upon a time, you're just like, ooh, I caught you sleeping with so-and-so's wife. It's like, dude, prove it. It is the 1300s. Prove it. I caught him red-handed fisting the governor's wife. The Viscount's wife boy. So local prosecutors in New York, Los Angeles, and San Diego Bay Area are investigating Swalwell, who resigned from both Congress and the California governor's race earlier this month. Regarding the allegations, Swalwell has categorically denied the illegal conduct but acknowledged unspecified mistakes in judgment and apologized to his family, his staff, and his constituents. Justice Department launched a federal investigation into Eric Swalwell. Relax. And accuser Lana Drews alleged that Swalwell drugged and raped her in 2018, while a former staffer claimed that he assaulted her in 2024 when he was severely intoxicated. Okay. New rule for America. If you have, like, any sexual misconduct allegations that are reasonably credible, you don't get to be in office. You are compromised. And yes, compromised in the sense that you're like a fucking predator of people. Like, great, we don't need that anymore. Get gone, bitches. Like, what is it? What is it? Why do we have to, like... The Congress voted to not release information about the sexual misconduct of congresspersons. And after that, you have had Kristi Noem's big balloon-titted husband bimbifying himself all over social media. I mean, that is a top-tier distraction from the Iran-Israel U.S.-Lebanon war. I'm confused. It's hard to follow. Kind of really does feel like we're in the beginning stages of World War III, but everyone's being very reluctantly dragged into it, except for Israel. Israel's like, yeah, let's be the biggest motherfuckers on the pile of this ash heap. Looking at you, independent Kurdistan, I have a feeling that's going to be happening sooner rather than later. Especially considering, I mean, you want to talk about conspiracy realism? Here you go. Prediction. It is 4/16 Thursday, 2026. I think in the next 3 years, I would like to be like, oh, the next 2 months. No, in the next 3 years, the likelihood with which we see an independent Kurdistan rising up, taking portions of Iraq, Iran, and Syria, 3 countries that are pretty heavily destabilized right now and may not be able to consolidate or hold that area, especially if we, the United States and the CIA or whatever other shady organizations wish to contribute, give Kurdistan guns and money and weapons, armor, missiles. They arm them like we've been arming the Ukraine. And if those areas around them, those countries, are sufficiently disabled, then they may not be able to stand up to independent Kurdistan's trench warfare that would be essentially a Ukraine in the Middle East. Now, where does that leave us? So, we, going back to our car metaphor, you have the driver of the car sitting here. We'll call that the blob, or the shadow government, the deep state of America. It's not what, like, the QAnon people like to make it think it is. Because QAnon, if you don't remember from last week, QAnon was a capture event that escaped containment, essentially. It was a way to capture conspiratorial elements of the Republican voter base, as well as, like, fringe independent voters or other people that, like, I don't know, find the trafficking of children abhorrent. Shocking that we have to go down political lines for that one. That should be like if there's a single voter issue, we if there's a single issue we as voters could unite around, the trafficking of children is like the best litmus test for, like, are you a reptilian scumbag that was going to the island? Because if you don't think we should be protecting children, great, tell us. Say that shit with your whole chest. And if you're just like, oh, I just don't give a shit, fuck him. It's like, wait, what? I'm sorry, what? What? Don't give a shit and you fuck him? Oh. Pay attention to that. Because I think most people, even single people that do not want to have children of their own, that I have talked to at least, so maybe your sample size is different than mine here in Southern California, pretty much everyone I have spoken to is pro protecting children. Period. Shocking, I know. So, again, if you have credible sexual allegation against you, I got to go back to the car metaphor. I'm sorry, I'm losing myself. This fever is killing me. The car metaphor. We have the shadow government, deep state, blob thing that is, again, it's not as sexy as some people would like to say. And you can say there's many layers even to this deep state analogy. Because you have some people that are like the Steve Bannons, where I feel like Steve Bannon is an American version of Jeffrey Epstein, where they're almost like such like top level agents that it's like, no, you're bankrolled by like the Rothschilds or one of these other aristocratic families in this country that are usually somehow consolidating all the power through banks or industry or the military. Or if you're like the Mars family, you just do it with chocolate. And then all the food. It's mostly career bureaucrats, career statespersons, career whatever. As well as there is a multiple layers of, I think it's like 6 or 8 levels of top secret clearance above the president. So that means that there are individuals who have more secrets and knowledge about the United States and its machinations and its black projects that it's doing under the grounds of Ohio. Look up the Ohio thunder, like light ground earthquakes or whatever. I think it's Ohio or maybe it's Indiana. One of those states is having a bunch of like random earthquakes, or maybe this was a few years ago. If they are having a bunch of random earthquakes, and then it just sort of dropped off the world as far as what that might have been or what that was. And it's like, oh, it was probably underground testing. The people that have the security clearance above the president, they're aware of that stuff. So just proof that the president is not the be-all, end-all power of the United States. Probably never will be. Probably never was. But he is just the mouthpiece for the Eye of Sauron. So the Blob, the driver, really wants to give someone else the aux cord and maybe the power to tell other people what to do in the car. The car, right now, being the Middle East. And I see this coming in through a lot of people on social media or in more traditional legacy type media, podcasts, etc., that are former military, some current military, some actual PSYOP MOSs. That means that their actual role in the military is psychological operations. I believe it's like 36 Bravo or something like that. And Hey Luhan, I think, is a... Which, I mean, hey, Warren Hamster. You get all these, like, cute young women running around doing all the things, and it's like, it's going to capture any single guy like myself that's now still military-aged. Because, wow, hot chick with gun. Yay, I like hot chick with gun. Pew, pew. It hits me right in the primal centers. Gun. Titties. Sweet. Paying attention. And then you have like Valhalla FT or Sean Ryan, any of these like CIA cutout guys that's running around Karyaku or Bustamante. You have FBI people running around saying all the things. And they're acting to me like agents of the blob or of the deep state that is sick of the Israeli problem, both in American politics and in the way it causes a lot of headaches for us in the Middle East. I think in the same way that like Israel is the little brother that has the big brother, America, that it can be like, you're not going to mess with me because if you mess with me, you mess with my big brother. And the big brother is slowly like kind of learning like, hey, this little shit kind of needs to get their ass kicked. Or they need to know that like, I'm not always going to be there to back them up. Like, you need to sometimes handle your shit on your own. And that's where you have Valhalla FT, Sean Ryan, name it. I mean, Theo Vaughn, to a degree. Although I think he might be a more genuine actor. I don't think he's a negative actor, but he's certainly getting amplified in clips from clip channels where you're like, how did this clip channel just come out of nowhere and all of a sudden they're clipping all this stuff that's really pertinent to Theo Vaughn's view of foreign wars? It's like, come on, y'all, what the fuck? Is that could not be a more obvious psyop and program. But so all these people, you go check out Warhamster's latest posts. What was America like before AIPAC and Israeli money? So you have all these people seeding into the American counterculture movement or American voting bases, whether it be right or left. On the left, you get it through things like Free Palestine. There are a lot of other things that we should free, but yeah, free Palestine. And then you have on the right the voter base that's like, yo, get all this foreign money out of our government, but particularly foreign money that keeps forcing us to spend money on a country that we don't particularly like, and a country that's investing way too much money into our politicians to make them vote for them. And then we're having some of our politicians having like Freudian slips or gaffes where they're basically acknowledging that they are loyal to Israel before they are loyal to the United States. That's hilarious. As a cynical motherfucker myself, like, dude, y'all, come on. You're handing people like me way too much easy ammunition to discredit everything that you're saying. Good thing for you, I'm like blackballed as hell in whatever the fucking medium thing is. But also I'm trying to juggle too many balls and things get dropped. Like my thumbnails. Those thumbnails suck. I need to get better at them. But, you have all these internet either hot chicks with guns or tough guys that have great war stories, all saying the same thing in lockstep, specifically about Israel. Is that because they notice that, hey, I'm actually getting a lot more traction. These posts are getting attention. I will continue to post Israel stuff or goy slop bullshit or some version of, hey, isn't this suspicious? Where they're trying to lead people to come to their own conclusions. They're not necessarily trying to go, this is bad, we need to stop this. Through humor, memes, just kind of exposing a lot of things that happen. Say, like, if someone were to go back and be like, how much money does Eric Swalwell have getting funneled into him by AIPAC? Is that relevant? Or Sifu? Any of these things in his current situation right now? And then, so if that's happening, that means the Blob, the actual driver, has told people in the American intelligence apparatus or psychological operations or counterinsurgency as well, because Valhalla FT, former Green Beret, Sean Ryan, I imagine that's like the counterinsurgency thing that was such a problem when it came to foreign influence in our country in like 2014 to 2016, 18. Where it was just everyone's like, oh, Russia this, oh, China this, oh, North Korea that. And so to combat that, say Russian meme farms, they started, let's do American meme farms. America, carry the fire. You go onto their stuff, it's like, wow, this is all cool. It's a bunch of cool tough guys doing cool tough guy stuff with guns and, behest of America. But it also has this like rebel American cowboy element to it where it's like, yo, fuck the government, yo. So fuck these people. And a lot of pointed shit at AIPAC and Israel. You're telling me that carry the fire or, buck stops here or all these other like 3-word things. Yeah, that's not just churned out by some fucking bot or AI in Langley or what's the other one? Ellison Air Force Base. Every time Ellison Air Force Base's internet goes down, it's amazing how little traffic ends up going to Reddit. It's almost like Reddit is, in fact, a fucking psyop. Ghislaine Maxwell was like one of the number one karma posters on Reddit. That should tell you that it's a psyop. That should tell you that it's a conspiracy. Reddit is a conspiracy to control American conversations online. It's just part of it. You telling me Meta's not doing the exact same thing with Instagram and Facebook? And people keep telling me, Austin, you should get on TikTok. You mean that shit owned by Larry Ellison? You think Larry Ellison is going to like anything I'm saying? And I'm going to have to learn a whole new fucking language to talk about it? No, fuck that noise. Kiss my puckered, chafing asshole. No. I'm not learning to say graped. I'm 34 years old. I used to work with rape victims. All right? I'm not saying graped because you people fucking suck. Like, Jesus Christ. Some of the stories I heard from rape victims, that shit'll fuck you up. It's part of the reason I got dark circles. There's a few reasons. Because you really see, like, the superficial understanding of the world and then the deeper understanding of the world. And I had an interesting back and forth with some ladies on the internet because some lady is alleging that Los Angeles is having a renaissance of human trafficking. That's fucking terrible. Shocking. It's almost like getting rid of all the police and making them not police things and having this like rampant like homelessness, homeless encampments, all these things where it's like you've created a favela. Of course, favela shit is now going to be happening. If you don't want favela shit to be happening, like a resurgence in human trafficking, get rid of the favela shit. It's not that fucking complicated. It's broken windows theory at its finest. If you go into an area and every window is broken, you're willing to bet that the crime and all the other things are downstream of that psychological imprint that is the broken windows. That's what I had to do here at the park. There were a lot of issues. I said, hey, there's massive amounts of trash and garbage every day that everyone's dealing with. Most of this is in violation of lease, whatever, who cares about that part? But like, there's a restaurant here. If you're coming to go to the restaurant and you see some person getting out of their truck and dumping 15 toilets in the same dumpster that's right next to the restaurant, you're not going to feel so comfortable going back to that restaurant, period. So now here with this, like LA, it's like, okay, everywhere is just a bunch of dumped toilets psychologically. So of course these things are going to come back. So it behooves every person to be situationally aware and recognize when you might be being trafficked. And I said that. I commented on the post. I said, hey, look, y'all, best practical advice I can give you as someone that worked with rape victims is learn situational awareness. The second best advice I can give is get a fucking gun. Like, jiu-jitsu and boxing is great, but unfortunately most women are at, especially from like people that are sexual predators, you might be at a strength disadvantage that is uncomfortable and unfortunate to acknowledge, but it's part of how you actually like save people from these things. Be situationally aware, get a fucking gun, get a CCW, train, learn how to shoot it. Most training will involve situational awareness. If you can be aware to your situation and recognize the warning signs for when you might be being trafficked or when someone might be coming to mug you, someone might be trying to break into your house, the more you know about that, the safer you can be by avoiding the next steps down the line. Like, it's little things like that. Like when I was a kid doing martial arts and self-defense stuff, I remember asking like, hey, I'm like 12. How do I actually fight like a grown man that's trying to like shove me into a car? And they're like, well, you kick him in the nuts. You can, hit certain areas that even as a child, if you hit it, it's going to hurt a lot. Another thing you can do is if they have piercings, rip that shit out of their face. That's why I don't have any piercings. Because when I was 12, someone said, hey, what's the best way for me to defend myself against an adult? Rip the metal out of their fucking nose. Rip it out of their ears. Ladies, learn that. If some guy's coming at you, he's got one of those pain bars, make him feel the fucking pain. The response I got from some of these women was literally, no, this is not about how women need to become safer and how they protect themselves. This is about men holding other men accountable for being monsters. And it's like, you mean the fucking police? Like that's what we have the police for. We have the police to hold these people accountable. Do we have conversations about why rape is bad? Yeah. I don't think we've ever had more conversations about that than in the last 5 or 6 years. To our great, benefit, although it's kind of scared a lot of the wrong people. It scared a lot of people that probably never would have raped, period. And it's got a lot. Let's face it, guys. Rapists don't care about a hashtag. A hashtag is not going to stop them. Hashtag me too. Ooh, they don't care. Just like they don't care about like me or another man going to them and being like, hey, you should stop doing this. They don't give a shit. They're predators. Look at this fucking Swalwell guy. You're telling me he's not a perfect congressman with 4 sexual credible allegations against him? No. It's all a fucking joke. So that's the thing. Like LA, you just got a lot of people that are, and I think New York, that they live in such a kind of cushy environment that is so at times idealistic and legitimately utopian, that when you tell them like, hey, real danger exists out there and like around the corner from you, not like in some bygone place that you'll never go, but literally in your own city, they go, no, I need this idealistic thing to deal with it now. They're like, great, that's an idea. Unfortunately, that's not going to solve the problem. It's not. And if you really want to get uncomfortable, go look at the psychology of rapists, because many of them are compulsive, which means, like pedos, they're not going to stop. If they have access, if they will. Like, there's some people that I think get caught up in an unfortunate game of not understanding consent, or maybe doing something that, yeah, is shitty and is inevitably is rape. And then there's a difference between people that are like, I'm going to take it, it's mine. The psychology of that individual or those individuals is really dark and kind of diabolical. Very Machiavellian, you could say. You know, I have a lot of shitty things to say about, what's his name? Gavin Newsom. But, like, it kind of seems to me like Gavin Newsom's just a frat boy player. Like, he's not running around raping. I don't think he needs to. I don't know. I don't think he gets off on it. Swalwell, from what I'm seeing, like, one of these former staffers claimed that he assaulted her while she was severely intoxicated, and another one who alleged that Swalwell drugged and raped her in 2018. That's a compulsive rapist. That is a rapist that is never going to stop raping, period. The sooner we acknowledge this and we go, because the thing is forgiveness is a wonderful thing, and it's very theologically important to Christianity. The reality is, not everyone deserves forgiveness from us. They can seek that from Jesus when they meet him, when we send him there. And me, as a crazy pagan, I think, no. If you rape a bunch, you should die. Yeah, like, not even in Minecraft, in the real world, you should be hung. We that's what we should have fucking laws for. But apparently, you know, you can get in less trouble for that than you can for a lot of, like, nonviolent drug crimes. There are a lot of people that have served way longer in prison for a nonviolent drug offense than people who committed violent sexual assaults. Like, that's fucked up. That's America, though, because we decided to have a war on drugs instead of a war on rape and rapists. Whoops. So, anyways, you're easily compromised. You're easily compromisable if you have this sort of heinous criminality in your background. It's just 2028. No rapist selected at all. No rapist selected at all. No rapist elected at all. Period. And then you have the Kristi Noem thing. So I'm seeing all these things come out for all these different political people, that maybe it's because of Trump, maybe it's because of Israel that it's coming out, maybe it's because of their many enemies in their own constituency or whatever the hell. And many of them reelect no one. We shouldn't reelect any of them. But again, it's the blob. It's the person or the entity that is driving the car that is going, we need to get rid of this AIPAC Israeli influence in American politics. It is causing too many problems, and it's affecting our ability to drive the car, govern as we need to, do things as we need to, especially this Iran war. Why? Because I don't think the entrenched elements of the U.S. government ever actually wanted to go to war with Iran. I don't think that ever was part of their fucking playbook. They wanted to get them under the Rothschilds' banking apparatus. Yeah, because the Rothschilds actually are the ones that run the fucking country. They're part of it. It's a big, complicated blob, but the Rothschilds are the most public-facing element of it. Don't eat a salad and drink an energy drink. It's a weird burp. So, because here's the thing. Regarding the allegations, Swalwell categorically denied illegal conduct, but acknowledged unspecified mistakes in judgment. I mean, frankly, I consider violent rape a lapse in judgment as well. The fuck are we doing? Oh my God, we should hang him. All these people. Mostly, like, not, I mean, the criminal element, yeah, we should investigate that. We should hang them for being so criminally fucking compromisable that it should count as, like, treason. If you're this easily compromised as a politician, we should hang you for treason. Just a thought. Just a thought. Publicly, too. Not like privately, where it's like, oh, you know, hey, we just don't sort of like this guy. It's like, no. We should hang these fuckers from the Washington Monument in the Mall of America. We're not going to get a lot of views on this episode, I bet. But, yeah. So, anyways, when you see all the America online apparatus, because you have multiple prongs to the thing. You have the TPUSA faith and many elements of that coming in as sort of a capture event for the right-leaning parties of America. The left does it through, like, the No Kings and all that stuff. Isn't it funny how we had a No Kings protest, but we haven't had, like, a single massive Epstein Files release protest? That goes to show you that many of the protests that we see in America are sponsored. And if there's no one sponsoring it, it's funny how it doesn't happen. Right? Like, that's just... I'm just rambling and whatnot in this one. We'll probably end it here in a minute or two because my fucking head is swimming. Get your towels and your old blankets and all that stuff and take it to your nearest animal shelter if you're in the Southern California area, because our shelters are overrun and it's a problem. And, you know, that government corruption where you're just like, I feel like some of y'all are way more easily compromised than you think you are. And because we're having a international, if not national, moment of awareness about how bad the problem is, because we're seeing all the evidence in the same way we dealt with the systemic racism problem and a few other problems like the Me Too issue and what that was meant to deal with rapists in power. And then we elect Trump, who has all these pretty credible allegations, whatever. Apparently it's easier to fool people than it is for people to admit that they have been fooled. Maybe it's because of all the lack of success I've had in my life, but, like, just admit you've been fooled, people. The fuck? You're shooting yourself in the foot, trying to shoot at something under your foot. Just move your fucking foot. What the... Hey, thanks for tuning in. Like, share, comment, subscribe. If you made it this far, you're a fucking hero. And I hope something really nice happens for you this weekend, especially if you had to pay fucking taxes to these child-eating pedos.